Welcome to the Minnesota Liberty Network, and here are your hosts, Bill Liskey and Drew Roach.
What's up?
How's it going, Drew?
Not too shabby.
Yeah,
Episode 3.
episode 3. It's a little off on the date, but hey, here we are.
Yeah. Well, we're busy guys.
We, as you can see, I'm still dressed for the show.
You look very dapper today.
Well, thank you. Got that extra stripes.
I had about 10 minutes to change, so I figured I'd change.
Hey, you look all right.
I try.
Yeah.
It's my big Sandy camp. I was at men's retreat,
There you go.
so I got a little fellowship, a little wait time. SK was nice.
Did you get some rest at least?
No, I didn't. It was fun, but it was a men's retreat, and so there was a whole bunch of guys from different churches across the state. They put you up in a room with a whole bunch of different people, and I mean it was 10 grown men.
All in a room.
Yeah, in
Oh,
bunk
boy.
beds, right?
Oh,
So
jeez.
it was fine. This year? This is the third year I've gone, and in years past, there's been some pretty loud snores.
You did
it's
okay this time?
it wasn't bad. It just got a little hot at night. Right?
Sure.
'Cause
I
it's
mean,
a little fan, but the door's
got
shut. You got
10 guys in one room.
farting and
It's a lot of body heat.
yeah, it was. But it was good. It was fun. I didn't get the most sleep, but it was about the fellowship. It was a good time. So
I got to watch hockey all weekend. So
there you go.
I
Some high school hockey.
actually Bantam level hockey.
Yeah.
Middle
I
school
suppose.
roughly.
Sure. Okay.
It was pretty exciting actually. The New Prague team, I'm going to give them a little shout out. Bantam Seas.
There
They
you go.
played very well for the team. They were ranked only 10th out of 11 teams, and they won their first 2 play-ins. So they managed to beat an 8th place team and I think a 5th place team or something like that. So
There you go.
they were working. They were
Yeah.
working hard, and
It's fun.
I'm pretty proud of those kids.
Yeah,
They
it's
worked
fun to
hard.
watch.
It's fun to watch the Bantams play. They go after it, man.
It's
It's a
amazing.
lot of fun.
It's that wonderful stage where they're not quite coordinated, but they're very, very fast and trying. It's pretty cool stuff. I really like how good they are. So what do we think? We should probably talk about politics, huh? Since that's
Yeah,
what we like to
Let's
talk
get
about.
into it.
Well, we had a lot of bill hearings in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I'll let you take it away first.
Yeah.
You got a really big bill that's got a lot of hearings. So let's talk about that one first.
Yeah. Well, I chief author of the Never Again bill. So that was the Never Again Act. Very popular bill. It's got a lot of support from a lot of constituents and Minnesotans across the state, and was fortunate enough to have some good testifiers. I had a hearing in front of state gov committee, and so like I said, had Lisa Monet Zarza come out. She's awesome patriot, business owner. She owned a few restaurants, one in Lakeville and in Northfield, where she I don't want to say defied, but she stood up for her rights and tried to make a living when we were under lockdowns with when COVID was going on, and she was negatively impacted, as were 6 million Minnesotans. And
Yeah, she was the one that owned the Alibi Drinkery in my hometown Lakeville, right?
Yep, and
Yeah.
Froggy Bottoms as well.
Well,
So-
over in Northfield in my district.
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
currently.
So
Yeah,
they did a between Walls and
Ellison.
and Keith Ellison, they really put her through hell, and it's sad.
And I feel so bad for her because she had to pick up her entire her family and move
Yeah.
out of the state to
Yeah.
go and do what she likes to do.
Yeah, so she came and testified. Great testimony. There was some other constituents of ours, of mine, a good good constituent and a delegate, and reached out to him, and he came out with his group that he's associated with, which is the COVID victims group, and man, they had some really emotional testimony as well, and those were family members who had lost loved ones during COVID, specifically loved ones who were hospitalized, who were then not allowed to have family
Which
near
is
them,
just crazy to me.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
one of the testifiers Nicole Riggs testified how her father was in the hospital for 16 days, died alone.
Alone, right? Nobody there, nobody to take care of him, nobody to spend time with him.
It's a
You know,
terrible way to die.
I can only imagine the outcomes being different, right? Is if you can have loved ones around you when you're sick, especially when you're in the hospital, the will to live is significantly different when you have people coming to check on you, coming to spend time with you. And in this case, no one was there.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a friend that I lost to it. You know, Frank actually used to be in this room. He used to rent this room from me that we're in right now, and he passed away. He's a 54-year-old guy and very young. They took him to the hospital, or he took himself to the hospital and checked in, and they gave him the remdesivir shot.
Yep.
Which is a scary shot, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have lots of questions about it. And within 12 hours, he's in full renal failure and died. It's pretty scary. Like, it had nothing to do with COVID at that point. I mean, he had COVID, right? And he had issues breathing, but they treated him with remdesivir and he died from kidney failure. Of course, they blamed COVID still because, of course, there was some money involved.
Yep.
But the truth was the shot killed him, not the
100%. It was the treatment. I mean, that was one of the saddest things that came out of COVID is the fact that, people weren't dying in their homes. They weren't dying at work. They weren't dying in their cars on their way to work or into the grocery store. They were dying when they went to the hospital.
Right. And that's
when they were getting treatment for it. And Ann Kiner was there. She was her I forget what her husband's name was, but Scott. And he was moved from 3 different hospitals. And she was advocating for him to get hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin and vitamin C and all these other treatments outside of,
and they were refusing
remdesivir, and she was in a legal battle. Everywhere she turned. And so, I mean, there's just countless stories of victims from the lockdowns, from the powers that be in the executive branch, and how they were, Tim Walz was able to
control the entire state by one person,
take everybody's rights away, and people just went along with it. Most people went along with it. I know for me, I mean, I get it. It was unprecedented at times, and for a lot of people, the fear.
I had to follow it, right? I own my own chiropractic business. I had a license on the line. My livelihood was on the line.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I mean, that's why Scott Jensen became so popular, is because he spoke out against it.
Yep.
And he had the same issues that I was having. He was getting his licensing threatened. He was basically told, "Look out! You better do what we tell you, or else you're done."
Yeah. And no one did. I mean, no one person.
No one person should ever be able to tell everybody what to do.
Yeah, it was a complete overreach of power. When you look at other states like South Dakota, where Kristi Noem, and she has her issues as a governor too. No one's perfect.
But the
but
thing
how
is,
she handled the lockdowns,
and what's crazy to me is such different approach.
Correct.
And the outcomes were the same.
Correct.
The outcomes were the same.
Yeah, we
so the people dying from COVID were going to die from COVID.
Yeah,
it wasn't. There was no actual evidence to support all the crazy mandates.
Correct. We went to flatten the curve, and all we did was flatten businesses and destroy the economy and destroy families and destroy lives. It was sad, and
we actually drove people to drinking a lot. I mean, we had massive spikes in liquor sales, which, I mean, good. Our economy in the liquor department went up, I guess, but that's scary because of what it means.
Yeah, we drove a lot of things. We drove a lot of businesses out of state. We drove a lot of people to move to Florida and to move to other.
Well, and they're still doing it
to other parts of the country where they felt that there was freedom.
They're still doing it. That's the scariest part.
Absolutely. So, I had that hearing 2 Wednesdays ago in front of State Gov. Went well. I have my second hearing tomorrow in front of the Veterans Committee. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Veterans Committee, I got to speak in front of the Veterans Committee as well.
Nice.
The Senate version.
Okay.
Also a subcommittee as well.
Yeah.
I think that's something we need to change going forward. Is I think our veterans deserve their own committee.
In the House, they do. It's a subcommittee, but
Right, that's
they,
what I'm saying.
yeah.
I think we need to do away with the subcommittees. They need their own committee. I'm that's what I'm advocating for.
Sure,
They used to have their own committee. So in the Senate, they had their own separate. It was Veterans Affairs. That was the name of the
Gotcha.
committee.
Yeah.
And I think that should happen in both the House and the Senate.
Yeah, I guess from my understanding,
They're not though. They have to go through the state and local gov committees in order to get things assigned to them.
gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I see.
I think those committees should be there themselves. But let's get to what I was presenting in front of the Veterans Committee. I was presenting a bill that I've been carrying now. This will be the third year. It's the Veterans Burial Bill. Basically, right now, the state of Minnesota makes spouses pay to be buried with their veteran. It's absolutely crazy to me. The federal government does not. So Fort Snelling, anyone in Fort Snelling gets to be buried with their veteran or their spouse, however you want to look at it. Like Cassie's grandpa is a veteran for World War II.
Mm-hmm.
He's still alive, but his wife is actually buried where he will be buried someday.
Yeah, as they should be.
Right, but state doesn't. So we have state burial grounds, we have state cemeteries that we have to pay for, and it's a lot of money. So originally it used to be $500. It's now $987 or something like that. And I'm still in shock, like that's how much it costs to bury one spouse.
Yeah, that's
And you're burying it in the same burial site.
yeah.
So I'm hoping we can find the money. Our budget is in shambles because we willfully and wantonly spent our money from 2 years ago. And it's just sad that we didn't include this in the first go round. So I'm hunting down money to try and figure that out.
Did you make an amendment to that to the national defense license plate to appropriate money for that, or
So the National Defense License Plate currently would put it into the same fund that we
Yeah.
tried to drag that
Yeah.
from.
Support our
We were
troops.
told that if we were to use that funding currently with the funding sources that it does have before the license plate, that unfortunately it would take the entire budget because that current money is used to match federal dollars on grants and programs. So if we take that money away, we don't actually get the federal grants. And so the money gets messed up that way.
so what's the fiscal note on this burial?
Roughly, I think per biennium, roughly 1 to 1.5 million, give or take. So it's not a lot. It's
Yeah,
not-
well, if
not a
there
huge
was
number.
if there was something as a taxpayer, I'd be happy to spend $1 million on supporting the troops.
Oh, I would be too.
You know what I mean?
I'm right there with
Because
you.
the reality is whether you're a spouse, and I think dependence is on there as well.
Yeah, and so
Children, because I'm the companion.
yeah, the really hard part about ours is it's actually tied to ag. Now that I remember, our committee. So your committee is through state and local gov. Our committee for veterans is through agriculture and broadband. So it's a really weird and honestly, the agriculture budget is super small.
Sure.
It's a very small part of our state budget, which I guess is a good thing. Maybe.
Yeah.
I like smaller budgets, so that's a good thing. But it's sad because the money would have to come out of that budget,
Yeah.
and I don't
Yeah,
know where
which
it's
is
gonna come from.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So, but speaking of agriculture, that's the other bill that I had a hearing about.
Yeah.
It's a good one. I think you like it.
Yeah.
Cottage foods. We were talking about cottage foods a little bit before,
Yep.
maybe, but
Yep.
this cottage foods bill is super important. Matty V would love to talk cottage foods any time of the day. Basically, it allows you to make food and sell it to your neighbors. It's no need for a license, no need for a commercial kitchen. Which Cassie just took up a hobby of baking. She's baking sourdough bread.
I love sourdough bread.
Oh man, she's getting really good at it too. It's
So good.
good stuff. We'll have to bake you a little.
People do like the designs in there.
Oh yeah, she had a heart on top of the one
Oh,
for
nice.
Valentine's Day that she made.
Oh, for love.
Oh yeah, for love.
She
Actually,
made with love.
the kids demanded that she put a heart on
Fermented
it.
bread made with love. My favorite.
Fermented bread. Yeah, it's great stuff. So cottage foods, we're trying to get it so that we can ship it around the state. And
Yep.
we're trying to get it so that the LLCs can be properly handled. There's some discussions about some amendments trying to make it so that it'll pass this year. And some of the amendments are gonna be talking about some LLC stuff, but also talking about like the fact that it's an exemption, not a license. We're gonna try and make it so that it kind of hones in, and so hopefully that Minnesota Department of Agriculture will actually be okay with it and move on.
Yeah. Well, that'd be hopefully that keeps going somewhere because cottage food bakers are. I mean, we see a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, and it's growing. I think the current number in Minnesota is about almost 11,000. It's about
Yeah.
10,300, something like that. It's
a
getting
lot.
close.
Yeah, and you got to start somewhere.
Right. And it's a great starting point for businesses.
Absolutely.
Great entrepreneurial spirit
Absolutely.
can start building. But it was funny. I actually brought up spices during my meeting with the Minnesota Department of Agriculture. You know, spices are actually super dangerous because they're irradiated. That's their excuse.
That really doesn't make much sense to me.
Well, apparently all
anything's
of them are.
dangerous,
Right, but-
really, food, right?
But apparently they're all like, I guess all the homemade spices are attracted to irradiated foods.
Just
That's why spices are having a hard time.
keep the peanuts out of the spice and you will be fine.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's just interesting.
It should be as simple
Yeah.
as that.
right.
Everybody's got a damn peanut allergy.
Peanuts. Keep the peanuts out of your spice.
Peanuts.
Yeah, peanuts.
I think I didn't hear the T. Sounds
There
like
was a T.
penis.
There was a peanuts.
Yeah,
out
of
of
course, keep that out of the spice. Peanuts.
the peanuts. Peanuts. Out
I
of the
didn't
spice.
pick up on that, Drew. You did.
It's in his
I'm
head.
just making sure.
It's in his head.
Yeah.
So
That's funny.
speaking of male genitalia, why don't you talk about what's happening in the house?
Oh, what a great segue. What a great segue. That's awesome.
I can always make things work.
Oh, that was perfect. Well, we need to keep boys out of girls' sports. It's pretty easy.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Protect the women. Protect the young girls.
are you telling me that I'm not allowed to call a guy? Because that's what I got in trouble for last week.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because I talked about a guy on this show,
Oh, yeah, guy. Yeah.
and apparently that's not okay if they don't like that.
Guy who clearly has kids.
Yeah,
Yeah. From the loins.
yeah. Well, we're not going to mention names anymore because apparently that gets me in a lot of trouble. But what I'm going to
Well,
say,
I haven't gotten in trouble. No one brought me to the principal's office.
I got brought to the principal's office,
It
so I'm
sounds like
trying not to get.
Sounds like the Senate sucks.
I'm trying not to get my chief of staff in any more trouble.
Well,
So the reality of the situation, you can name any name you want, but the reality of the
I'll tell you what.
situation is
I'll be nice
apparently
today,
it's
but
not okay.
if they bring me into the principal's office, I'm doubling down.
Well, you could, yeah. I was waiting for them to bring you in. I thought for sure that
No,
you were
they're-
going to get in trouble. You're the one who was talking about it a lot
They
more than
know.
I was.
They know better. Drew, you can't talk about transgender men. I know. I was just talking about a man. I didn't
I was
say anything
just talking about a
transgender.
man. It's not my fault.
Boys have penises and girls have vaginas. We've all
As they
seen
say
Kindergarten
under
Cop.
Kindergarten Cop. Arnold himself would agree with us.
It was the kid. He was
Yeah, but
6
he
years old
agreed.
and
He nodded. He
Yeah,
agreed.
he knew.
So he knows. It's a 6-year-old kid on Kindergarten Cop knew.
Jeepers. So
go to the bill though you were
so-
talking
so-
about boys and girls sports.
So
Let's talk
Peggy,
about
yeah.
that.
So Peggy Scott, we heard that in front of education policy, and essentially it redefines, I guess, what a girl is, and which is crazy that we have to do that, and just makes it so that only girls can play in girl sports. Now, that doesn't mean that districts can't have a co-ed league,
Sure.
right?
Right.
If
But if it's a defined girls team or girls sport,
correct,
no boys.
correct,
Done. Deal.
simple.
Sounds easy.
It's very simple, very easy. But of course, the Democrats got to try to
Make it sound
gaslight
terrible.
everything, and this is actually this is a step back in the rights for women. No, it's not. Did you
How is
not
it-
just hear?
How is
the
it a
young-
step back in the rights for women?
Did you not
let me be
hear
specific.
the
women?
Yeah, did you not hear the testimony from the young girls that came from across the state to testify how
How they don't want to play against boys.
correct and how
Right.
they felt like it wasn't fair and that they were subject to having to play with boys. Not
Sure.
only that, but subject to even having them in their own locker room.
Well, and so it's crazy that you bring this up. So I have 2 girls. I have 2 daughters. One's
Same
playing.
here.
One's
Same
playing
here.
hockey.
Yep.
She plays mites. So mites is generally during practice co-ed. But when they get to games, my daughter cries and gets upset when she has to play against boys. Now, not all girls don't want to play against boys. There are girls that are on the boys' teams and they're choosing to be on the boys' team.
Sure.
Great. That's fine with me. But my daughter doesn't want to play against boys.
Yeah.
So she starts crying when she has to play the boys because she's like, they're too aggressive. They bump into me all the time and they knock me over all the time.
Yeah.
Which, accurate, 100% is what happens during the games I've watched. And so she really wants to just play the girls. And I said, well, the girls are going to get that way too at times. And she goes, Yeah, I know, but at least it's just the girls. It's not such a big deal. And so I want to protect my daughter's futures
Absolutely.
in sports.
Same here. I've got 2 daughters too, and I mean,
Absolutely.
I couldn't imagine. Oh man, I would.
Yep.
I'd go berserk if I see some boy out there playing basketball with my little girl, 5th grader, in a middle school team, and
Yeah.
he's out there just
Well, that
dropping bombs and blocking them, and I'd have a
you'd
I'd have a
time.
hard time, man.
Well,
I would. There's no way. I mean, it's just. Oh,
and it only gets weirder, right? Like we're talking about clothed sports, and then you have sports that have these things called swimming. That would get weird.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just the fact that there's even this argument, and again, they just gaslight. Well, this is about the kids, and they have a right to play too, and transgender girls have every right to be able to play. Yeah, no one.
I never said she couldn't play.
No one said that they can't.
Right.
It's called co-ed, or create your own transgender
League.
like,
right.
But
if
that's
it's such
not
a
going to
common,
work.
well, if it's such a common thing, which is what we're being told, that it's way more common than you think, even though it's only less than 1% of the population.
Correct.
But if it is so common, then we should be able to make an entire league for that situation.
Yeah.
I don't see how that's any different.
Well, it's the reality is 10 years ago, this wasn't even an issue.
Right.
Adults got it wrapped in their liberal, far left liberals got this in their head, this idea. I mean, I don't know if you want to blame Bruce Jenner or who you want to blame. It really kind of started.
It was way before Bruce Jenner.
Sure, I get that, but that was like
that was the launching.
That
point.
was like the empowering moment.
Well, what's really crazy is that Bruce Jenner / Caitlyn Jenner, whatever, doesn't support the message.
Well, yeah, I get it.
It's interesting that was the launching point of this becoming so popular.
It was.
I mean, I will agree with you. Now, of course, the idea of transgenderism has been around a lot longer than that. I mean, it was actually a social study, science experiment.
Yeah.
Back during World War II.
Yeah.
Like that's the origination of the idea.
But
it was actually to try and sterilize people.
Yeah, but
that was the whole concept.
From what I remember before, Bruce Jenner it was more of.
It was a taboo thing.
Well, yeah, and it was more just cross-dressing,
right? 100%.
They didn't go full out. It was the
they just enjoyed
the dude who
up.
just like when his wife went grocery shopping. Hey, honey, you want to come with? No, I'm good. And then he goes, and fucking
changes how he dresses,
putting on lingerie, and she comes home with groceries. Tom,
right?
He's in his, in a dress and wearing heels.
Well, yeah, that's how it was back then. But it's definitely not how
it went
is
from
today.
that to like full on like
we're gonna cut things off.
I'm a woman. No, you're not. You're not even trying to be. You got a 5 o'clock shadow, and
Right.
You're gonna do it. Be good at it. Damn it. Right.
Well.
My rant.
Yeah.
Drives me nuts.
So I'm going to bring us to a somber subject, something that's a lot more, unfortunately, both depressing but also really important to me. I didn't know how important it was until the weekend when I started learning about this situation. We all love summer sports. We all love enjoying our time at the lake, and we like nice crystal clear water and things like that. And some of that is because there's people out there that go out and they intentionally clean out the weeds and make the lakes nicer for us. So I'm gonna get into this bill that I heard today. It was a pretty heart-wrenching bill. I was pretty heartstrings pulled.
Sure.
Basically, what ended up happening is these 2 young boys, men, however you want to describe them, they're 18, 19 years old. I still consider them boys. I know I was a boy at 18. I was not a grown up yet. I was still learning. And these boys were hired by a company to go and get weeds off the bottom of lakes. They were doing this by scuba diving. And so the scuba diving bill, super important to me. I'm not actually an author on the bill, which is, I'm going to be clear. This isn't about me. This is about the kids, the gentlemen that are learning how to do these things. This bill was in front of Labor Committee today, and it was about trying to get some semblance of requirements for these companies to actually have to have trained divers, not just handing a kid a scuba tank and a mask and saying, get to the bottom of the lake, get down there, cut those weeds up, get up here. scuba diving is actually a really safe or really dangerous, not safe, really dangerous activity. I didn't know that. I always thought, just a tank with water or with oxygen in it. Put a mask on, swim to the bottom, you're good.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that hard, but it's actually a lot harder than it sounds. And there's a lot of equipment. So I helped pass a bunch of amendments today. I got a bunch of language to make it more safe. It's not safe, but it's more safe than it was. And so just wanted to draw some attention to that. You know, there was an attempt at making the bill. And so I'm trying to remember the boys' names. Aune, A-U-N-E is the last name of one, and Anderson is the other. I think it's Joe Anderson. It was really sad. It was really heart-wrenching. So, you know, just bringing that in, just trying to just bring us back down for a second, just to think about, like, the stuff we do every day has massive impacts on people's lives.
Yep.
And whilst it seems like no big deal for the most part, like what we do seems so far away from the average day-to-day life, it's not. It's right up there. Every decision we make has an impact on somebody's life.
Yep.
So
it's for sure.
With that being said, you know, I don't know how else to get into it. That specific bill it needed to be talked about today.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring that. And you know, I have to thank a couple of great instructors, scuba master level trained individuals, and they've worked really hard to help me understand what was needed. And so I just want to thank them again for all the help getting me through that. So
yeah. Well, before we get into our next thing too, I'll segue.
Yeah.
Any guests, like anybody you've talked to this week that's come in? I know I'll touch base on some of the constituents and stuff that have came out.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've had some great guests.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not this week, or you know, maybe at the end of last week, I had some great people from Goodhue County.
Oh yeah,
that was really good.
Yeah.
Great visit.
That was
had a great time.
BPOU folks that came out. Was their day at the Capitol?
Yep, it was their day at the Capitol.
Yeah, I didn't get to connect with them.
Well, that's because I hogged all their time.
Yeah.
I don't know if they told you, but I took them for a special trip around the Capitol.
Nice.
They got to hit the Senate floor. I don't even think you've been on the Senate floor yet.
No,
I'm a jerk. I won't share you.
I was told it's not allowed.
Only if you don't have a senator.
Sure.
If you have a senator, you can come on.
You got to wear a tie, I thought.
Yeah, during session. You of all people can come to the Senate session while we're in session. See, guests we can't really bring them down during session.
Yeah.
But if you wear a tie, you have to get your tie.
I got one.
Okay. Well,
do you have a tie?
I've got many ties.
If there's a day you decide you want to come to the Senate floor, make sure you.
I did see you, and you did not have a tie on.
Yeah, I wear ties every once in a while. But
see, I have to wear a tie.
He has to wear a tie on the Senate floor.
Yep, the Senate floor. I got to wear a tie.
I wear a sport coat and a button up.
So any constituents that I get time, like if you schedule with me a lot of time instead of a 15-minute visit, which I have a ton of those, right? Every day, I just get visits every day.
Yep.
But if you schedule enough time, this is an invite right now. I will take you to the Senate floor.
Sure.
We will
That's
go.
good.
We will tour the Senate. We'll get to see some cool things, behind the scenes stuff that most people don't get to see. So I'd be happy to take anybody that wants to come out and do that.
Yeah, I've extended that same invite to a couple constituents, some young guys that are involved that reached out to me, and I always welcome that. Love having anybody that wants to come out, specifically constituents. It is really cool. It's really fun. It's a nice break of the day to be able to connect with those people that you serve, and
it helps
have them get to see a side of the Capitol that they wouldn't get
never
to see,
seen.
or even in my case the Centennial Building, which is just cubicles.
No one wants to see
Just
a cubicle.
cubicles.
Come to my office. Way more exciting over there. We'll pretend like Drew works there too.
Yeah,
Just meet Drew at my office outside
Yeah,
the door,
yeah.
and then go down.
But so I had some members of the FFA come through.
See, I missed them today. I was really sad.
Yeah,
I was in committee all afternoon, and so I didn't get my opportunity.
Yeah, for those that don't know, it's the Future Farmers of America. It's a youth organization within the school districts that teaches kids about agriculture,
Which is huge.
huge, especially in our district.
Yeah.
So I got the opportunity to have the kids from the Northfield FFA program, Randolph, and Farmington.
Wow. Did you tell them all I said hi at least?
Yeah, I did. I was wondering. I asked them all specifically if they were going to see Senator Bill Leski, and they said no. They
Well,
said that.
They said no because unfortunately the only time that they had to see me was when I was in committee.
Yeah,
So,
and it's tough. Some days are tough. I mean, like I know for me, Wednesdays are very hard days to be able to have meetings with people. So if
Yep.
things, Goodhue or certain every organization or group has days at the Capitol. If it falls on a day that you're busy, unfortunately, no matter how important they are, sometimes you just can't.
every
connect.
constituent is more important to me than anything. I'm
Correct.
doing.
You're
the,
correct.
The problem
is-
is that I
is
also have to do
correct.
my job.
Yeah,
That's the
absolutely.
hard part.
Yeah. So I mean, I've been pulled out of committee to have those conversations, but the reality is you don't get that extra time that you.
Yeah, I would love to give them more time.
So, anyways, that was a good time to be able to connect with those young kids from FFA because it's like I said, what their excitement for agriculture and being the next generation of farming is really
In Farmington.
in Farmington
Farming
and
in
the
our-
district
in and around Farmington.
is really important. So it was nice connecting with those kids, and it's funny because they come in and they're good kids,
And they're all dressed up.
they're all dressed up. They got their really cool jackets.
They have uniforms. They have really nice uniforms.
And it's still humbling when they get nervous. It's like, stop right now.
Right.
Just stop.
Right.
I'm just a dude.
That's just exactly how I tell people. I'm like, they were like, I'm really nervous to present in front of this committee, and I'm like, well, we're just people.
Yeah,
There's nothing
just-
special about us.
just people. And half of you guys are taller than me, so just don't worry about it.
Well, hang on a second. Only half?
Majority. Of it. Majority.
See, it's funny. When we did our first 2 episodes, I had to sit really low because our microphones were low. But now I get to sit and show off the fact that this is actually more of the.
I think we had
proper-
viewers that says, Drew, you look as tall as Bill in the.
Yeah, hang on now. Let me sit up straight.
That's how we edit.
There we go. Drew, is this better now?
Proper
He's like,
edit.
"Dang it, let me get a little taller. All right.
So,
Hey, Drew, is your seat all the way up too?
Hey,
Or-
no,
no,
This
it's
is-
perfect. My knees don't hit the table.
this is a
It's
great.
You look
segue.
comfortable.
You know why this is a great segue?
Another good segue.
Yeah, hang on. You ready for me to tie this into our next segment?
Yeah.
The first 2 episodes were fraudulent because they were making you look taller.
What a just you're good
punny.
at-
I'm a
you're
little
good at-
punny.
You're good at this
Segues are my thing.
segue. So yeah, some fraud. That's like the theme of Minnesota politics.
Hey, that's
Well, I
what
would say-
our executive branch at least enjoys.
Just
They
polit-
love fraudulent behavior.
Politics in general.
I mean, look at what the
state,
federal government's doing.
It's
right?
all corrupt.
It's about time we got somebody in the federal level to point it out. And guess what? Now we get to have some inspection into the Minnesota fraud.
Let's do it.
So you want to?
Put some money back in my damn pocket. Man.
Well, I mean, or just not take it out. That'd be great.
Correct.
Let's start with less out.
Yeah.
And then we'll put more in. So you want to talk about the fraud bills? I don't know. I don't know all of the bills off the top of my head for fraud. I know we have a bunch of them.
I mean,
What's your favorite one? Okay, just pick one that you know about.
it's not even necessarily about some of the bills. It's just more about the reports.
Sure. So I'll talk about the bill. Then I'll talk about the one I know about, the biggest one, probably the most important. Did you know that right now we don't have really good whistleblower protections against in-state like executive branch members? Like if somebody in the commissioner's office, one of the commissioner's offices, were to come forward to the legislature, they could lose their job still. Like right now, like they could still get fired by the executive branch.
That's crazy.
And so I think one of the bills that I think should be supported bipartisanly is that these employees that come forward and tell us about what's happening in our own state government, which, by the way, the legislative branch is in charge of the money.
Yeah.
So we should know where the money's going. If they come forward and tell us right now, they get fired. So I think it should be a bipartisan effort to support them not getting fired for telling us their job.
I totally agree. I mean, why would we not want to know if there's wasteful spending and fraud in our own government?
Well,
Right? I mean,
that might lead us to the video that we have queued up. This is why we don't want to hear about it. Let's have Senator Zhang tell us what he
Zhang.
thinks.
Let us know.
Should be interesting to hear what he has to say.
I will not accept attempts to impugn their motives in this committee. We should consider state and local government from commissioners to mayors, to frontline desk workers, not as opposition, but as our partners. Too often, the discussion of high-profile fraud cases has attempted to connect them directly to the governor, as if members of the administration were somehow involved.
You can pause right there so people can read it. I'm just going to read it out. One of the responsibilities, this is a quote from Governor Walz himself. One of the responsibilities, and I take it, and the buck stops with me, is the appointments of literally thousands of people. Walz said Saturday at a festival organized by the news website MinPost. In this case, the process did not work, and we got this wrong. So he's taking ownership, but Senator Zhang's telling us that it's not their fault.
Yeah.
So which is it? Whose fault is it? I would imagine it's Governor Walz's fault because his team didn't catch it. I mean, how else do
It's
we
never
play?
their fault. It's never their fault. It's always somebody else's fault. And you know whose fault it usually is?
Somehow it's the Republicans' fault.
Segues us into the next one. The liberal tears. It's
The liberal
always
tears.
it's always the Donald's fault.
Let's,
you-
this is going to be a great video. I
The
think.
Donald and Elon, it's always their fault, right? Heaven forbid we have fraud, right? Liberals now don't care that there's fraud. They care who's telling us that there's fraud.
Well, they want him fired.
Yeah,
That's just crazy to me. How do they?
it's
What?
crazy.
I just don't get it. So maybe we can hear from the liberals themselves.
Let's do it.
Let's see what they got. What do you got, Matty V? Got it? We got it. Here we go.
Rates throughout the economy. And we're going to see that with a lot of the Trump cuts as he hits our government with a wrecking ball.
On top of that, the amount of money that this could cost is really troubling in light of
It's a man.
what we're facing right now with the Trump
on the left or the
administration
one on the
and
right?
cuts potentially
point that out
to
You pick.
domestic violence shelters. I know there's a lot of laughter whenever I say this.
And at this time, as I said, when we need people to stand up to unelected billionaires pawing through their data in Washington, Keith Ellison is doing exactly that. And standing up for other illegal activities that are taking place from the Trump administration.
But when I read this bill, I guess my question to you, we know what we're seeing the Musk-Trump administration do. They're wanting to round up folks and put them in camps.
But what we've seen out of the Trump-Musk administration is that willy-nilly executive orders go out and funding gets cut.
These kinds of
There we
cuts, you know, they might look okay on the spreadsheet, but
All
it
right, Maddie, I think we just
reverberates
hit the
throughout
replay
the
now.
economy. And we're going to see that with
That's the state of the state in Minnesota. They
I hear it every day.
$18 billion surplus wasted, right? $10 billion in increased taxes. They built a palace instead of funded teachers' pensions.
Yep.
And they blame Donald Trump.
It's all
Day
Donald's
in
fault.
and day out, every day. You can't have a reasonable debate with these people. They always flip it back to Donald Trump. It's Donald's fault. The tariffs, the aluminum's going to be so expensive.
You know what's really sad? You know that bill that we were talking about earlier that literally has an emotional tie to it? Trump came up in that discussion.
Oh, of course.
I was just like,
Yeah.
how is this linked? And then I realized, oh yeah, it's because of one of my amendments linked the discussion to federal OSHA law. And of course it went down the cliff after that. I was like,
There's no accountability from that side of the aisle whatsoever. They had trifecta control. They ran this state into the ground, and they want to sit here and blame Donald Trump for the last. I mean, how many days has it been that he's been in office?
I mean,
60
it's
days.
been no.
Not even.
January 20th. I mean, we're what?
Yes, you're right.
We're on the
excuse me.
25th.
I'm
It's a
thinking
month
November,
and- a
right?
month and 5 days.
Are you kidding me?
A month and 5 days he's been in office.
The eggs aren't cheap enough yet.
Well, how was he supposed to do
Well,
that?
because Biden killed all the damn chickens.
Right.
Off with their heads.
Yeah, they might have spread bird flu. And so we needed to kill him.
Maybe, possibly.
Well, and you know what's really crazy is now apparently cows are spreading bird flu.
Because they were testing these chickens with that fraudulent tests.
I had a friend of mine send me a funny thing saying, I had to laugh. It was a great meme. It's a picture of a chicken wearing a little tiny mask.
Yeah.
How to
right.
prevent it. 2 weeks to stop the spread.
Yeah. Swabbing them with those scandalous PR. What was it?
PCR tests.
PCR
or
tests.
PRCs or whatever.
Whatever it is. Just fake as all get up test is what we just call it.
Well, and if we don't find a positive, we'll spin it down another 1,000 times
Yeah,
until it tells us it's positive, which, by the way, is just breaking up the DNA so badly that you don't know what it is. Yeah, those, the A, the T, the G, and the C, there was just that perfect order. So it must be COVID. It must be COVID. Sorry if I got a little too genealogy for you, but
Yeah, it just never ceases to amaze me. I mean, like I said, we bring up our first bill on the House floor, and the first argument is
it's Donald Trump's fault.
this bill doesn't reduce the cost of eggs. The first bill the Republicans bring on the House floor, and we're talking about the Attorney General's office. We're not talking about lowering the price of eggs. We're not lowering the price of gas.
Speaking of that bill, I actually served in judiciary for all of 3 hearings, and I got to hear that bill in the Senate. So I know which bill that is. You guys,
That's House File 1.
And it died in a tie, or it died in a 67-65.
In the
right?
Senate already?
In the House. No, in the House.
Well, yeah, we tabled it. Yeah, I mean, it's
Tabled it, right? Because
Yeah.
you didn't have the extra single vote that you should have.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. No, actually, it passed out of the committee in the Senate.
Well, yeah. Well, it's because we have the gavel.
Well, we had the
Oh, in
gavel,
the
but it was
Senate, excuse
tied,
me. In
right?
the
It was
Senate,
tied.
excuse me.
So, it's an interesting discussion that it even made it anywhere. It's actually a really important bill. I don't know if you read into it and learned a lot about it. I learned a lot about it.
Yeah, I mean, the Attorney General's office is just hiding information.
Well, and what's funny is he didn't start doing that until he became the Attorney General.
Yeah,
Like this
course not.
weird loophole that he's using
Yeah.
didn't get used until he became the Attorney General.
The dude's an active Antifa member. Like he literally.
Right.
mean,
I
he's a
know.
communist.
He promotes it. He knows it.
His
Right.
son did. I mean, this is he's not even hiding it. He's a proud Marxist.
Right. I don't know. It's just so frustrating to me. I just don't get it.
I better be careful. I might get locked up for,
Yeah. Just careful when you're attacking other people. Apparently calling
better-
guys is dangerous
I
business.
all the AI red light cameras that are out there now.
Well, you do remember where, hate speech is getting recorded and submitted somewhere.
Put me on a list.
Yep. We're going to be on a
Keith.
list. We're going to be on a list.
Think I care. I'm
Probably-
on plenty of
I'm
lists.
probably already on the list.
Put
So
me
I-
on another one.
It's just good stuff. So, I know it might have been a short episode tonight, but I think we talked about a lot of important stuff.
Yeah, we need to wrap it up. I'm getting
You get a
heated.
little
Getting
too worked
mad.
up. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So, what do we think is coming next? I don't know if we know. Actually, you know what? I know what's coming up.
I've got a bill coming up that I'm excited about.
Yeah, you got a
Should-
hearing for it?
Well, no, not a hearing yet, but
Okay,
I
but
just
you got a good
should-
bill that you want
should-
to talk about?
Yeah, I got a quick bill. It's for another constituent, and I'm all about making sure that we can add revenue sources for businesses. Right? We want
Yeah.
to promote small
You're
businesses.
sending me the jackets, right? So I get to be
Absolutely.
the carrier
You're
in
a,
the Senate.
you're,
I like
you're a business owner. I'm a business owner. Our economy, especially in the
Right.
local towns that we're in,
it. We get to go back to removing restrictions since my scuba diving created restrictions. I get to go back to what I really like to do, which is remove restrictions.
absolutely
Yeah.
right. And this is just going to add another revenue source to businesses. So if you're have a cosmetology license, it allows you to essentially sell alcohol.
Hey,
Right. So if
I like
if you're a gal and you
you like a
going to
glass
get
of
your
wine?
going to get your hair did or your nails done, you're sitting back in Joanne or
You're
Two
enjoying a little glass of wine.
yes, you're whatever, you can sit there and have a little Chardonnay, a little red wine, whatever it may be.
I
a
could see you
beer.
doing that, Drew.
Yeah, I can see Drew getting his nails done.
I'm a clear coat guy.
Clear coat.
yeah.
Yeah, mostly his toes though. Prefers the toes. It's all about the petties.
I have done it before one time. It was kind of
I've never done it.
it tickles. It's
I
a
don't.
little,
I don't.
it's a little weird.
I'm not a fan of other people touching my feet.
Yeah, I went with my daughter.
Yeah, I get it, but I
Daddy
still
daughter.
won't. I still won't.
Sure. Oh,
It's not going to happen.
yeah,
Sorry, kid.
It's expensive. Like what?
It's expensive, and
like-
I
I
don't
wanna
want
say it
other
was like
people touching my feet.
50. I mean, if you got soft hands, I'm fine with it.
No, I'm good.
I wouldn't want you touching my feet, but
I mean, the weirdest part about it is I have to touch people's feet for my job. Like it's part of my line of work.
you do.
Yeah, people like their feet adjusted. Like they get those bones moved around when they, hurt their ankle, hurt their foot,
Oh man, I got.
plantar fasciitis.
You gotta make them. Do you make them take the socks off?
It depends on the situation.
Sweaty feet. Oh,
Believe me, that's the part
a
I don't like.
bunion?
Bill's
That's-
washing his hands every 5 minutes.
Yeah, just
That
back in the sink. That's why my skin gets all worn off in the wintertime because it's too dry for him to recover.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But
so
anyways,
you're working on the wine bill.
I'm working on
Specifically
so barbers and
specifically with
salons.
hair salons and barbers.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that just
Sure.
I had a constituent who wanted to be able to have some freedoms in her business and serve her customer base.
Well, then I think next time around, looking at the calendar, you guys might be in a tie by the time we get to our next
We'll
show.
see. I mean,
Hopefully not, right? I'm hoping
the odds
Paul
are.
Wickstrom wins.
Yeah,
I'm hoping for that.
I mean, if you're looking at the numbers,
If you're a betting man, things are not going to go great.
yeah, if you're a betting man, you would probably not
take.
you would not put your money on red.
Right.
But if you're
a hopeful and a
if-
praying man, you're praying for red.
if you believe in miracles and you want the USA to beat the Russia hockey team, then
You're
you
paying
think
for team
you're
red.
saying we got a chance.
Always a chance.
Always a chance. So I'll say this: I have not given time like some of the other members
Right.
into that race. Unfortunately, it's just been, not to make excuses. It's one thing after another, and it's hard to do that during the week. You can't do that at the Capitol.
Right.
It's got to be outside the Capitol grounds.
Yep.
For campaign reasons or campaign finance reasons.
Which makes sense. You don't want to be being paid to
Yeah.
help campaign for somebody else. Like, I get it.
Yeah. So exactly. So there's only so many times you can do it. It's typically weekends, and just hasn't
Come to fruition. You were
hasn't-
on a retreat and you were doing something else that was needed.
correct. But with that said, I do plan to get involved in that race and help out Paul where I can. If other people feel obligated or feel inclined to, I would definitely highly recommend that they reach out to Paul's campaign and help out where they can, because we can't win if we don't try.
Right.
And the reality is the state of the state will be drastically different if we can pull out a miracle in that
absolutely.
race and win. Right.
You guys
So-
are our stopgap. That's all I got to say.
That is it would be at this point that the Paul Wickstrom race would be the biggest win in Minnesota politics history. You can make that argument. I mean,
you-
I think
definitely in
maybe
current
nothing,
history.
maybe
Definitely in
nothing
current
will ever
history.
beat Ventura, right?
Right.
Because he was an independent. But outside
I would say
of
current history for sure.
outside of
within the
that-
last 15, 20 years. I mean,
yeah, outside of that, it's literally the most significant race. Because it has such high, implications as how it could affect the state. So we'll just have to hope that race does play out the way we want it. But again, it won't happen unless we put in some energy and effort. So
absolutely.
not to be a hypocrite here, but because again, I've got to put in my own time and energy into that race. But if you're inclined and have the time and are motivated, definitely do what you can, because even the phone calls, whatever you can do to help out would be huge for Paul. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that said, you're right. It could be a different state of the states, and I think that election's March 11th.
Yeah. So like I said,
got-
a couple weeks, we're going to be there.
It'll be like 2 weeks.
Right. So 2 weeks from today, if we did 2 weeks from Sunday, from last Sunday, we'd be right after the election.
Yeah.
So we're gonna know where you're at in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We're gonna know.
So-
We're gonna know. Which is good.
Yeah.
We're gonna know things.
So we'll see. I think that's
Just throwing this out there. Month of February's been crazy in my family. Everybody's got a birthday, I swear. So my wife's birthday was the 19th. My mom's is the 22nd, and my brother's birthday's today. So just a wild ride for my family.
yeah. Interesting. Well, happy birthday, Liskey's brother,
There you go. There we go.
What's
Little
his
shout
name?
out.
What's his
Jim.
name?
Jim is his name.
Jim. Happy
Yeah.
birthday, Jimmy.
So-
Is he a man? Is he 40?
No, he's younger than me by 13 months. So
Oh.
he made it to
boy.
the magical 34.
34.
Not that exciting.
Young buck.
Man, I just, it was funny. I was at a dinner or lunch with my wife, and her best friend is also in February. So we went out to breakfast or whatever you want to call it, a brunch, lunch, whatever, to celebrate their birthdays. And we were talking about, we all turn 40 within a month, because it's mine, then it's her friends, then it's hers. And she's like, yeah, we should do something for our 40th. I'm like, that's, our kids started screaming, don't leave us at home. Don't leave us at home. And I'm like, it's a while away, kids. Don't worry about it. It's going to be, 10 years from now or whatever. And Apparently my math sucks because I didn't realize I'm 35, which means only 5 years from now. It's coming fast. So soon enough, Drew, I'll be right there behind you.
It's crazy. Time flies.
It sneaks up on you, Bill.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Believe me, I'm figuring that out as it goes. So with that being said,
Yeah. I think that's a wrap.
thanks to the viewers for watching us.
Yeah.
I look forward to maybe getting some guests on here. So,
Yes.
and also if anybody has subject matter that they want us to talk about, feel free to write in or, comment on our Facebook posts or Rumble posts and just let us know. Because we would be happy to talk about pretty much anything. We'll take it.
Yeah, we probably should do a little bit, some shout outs, right? So the Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, obviously that's where you're going to find us. Share it, like it, comment, help us, promote the page and promote the podcast, and continue to grow the viewership and just to get the word out. What's the state of the state in Minnesota politics? So appreciate you guys watching.
Yeah, thanks from the Minnesota Liberty Network.
We're out.